Hey everyone, welcome to Theories with VIRIDIAN. Thank you for listening and tuning in to this podcast. And I'm your host, Ansley Hester.
I'm Emma.
I'm Erin.
And welcome to the conspiracies that everyone's probably thinking in their head, but we're just going to say them out loud in this podcast. And usually we talk about the JFK assassination, the Chuck E. Cheese conspiracy theory, and just things like that. So if you're interested in that, listen to our older podcast episodes. And this episode title is called Follow the Yellow Brick Road. And it's basically just scary conspiracy theories about the Wizard of Oz movie. And it's the original, by the way. But before we get started, a special thanks to Silver Sky Woodworking for their support of our channel. Without them, it would be impossible to record this. If any of our listeners need custom furniture, accent walls, cutting boards, and custom cabinets, they should head over to viridiannews.org and click the link for Silver Sky. And we're always looking for new sponsors, so let us know on viridiannews.org if you would like to be a part of our work and reach our audience with us. And now, let's get on to this episode. So, I was on TikTok, and I was just scrolling, and I'll see, these videos about, conspiracy theories and stuff. But there was this one that just caught my eye, and it was about the Wizard of Oz movie. And I don't know, I always thought it was a classic, and I never really thought much about it. But once I started watching, it was talking about, the abuse of the actress Dorothy, they played Dorothy, and just, a body that was hanging in the back of, a scene, the dancing scene, with the Tin Man and the lion and Dorothy. And I was just this is really interesting, and I really wanted to talk about this.
I've never really heard any conspiracies about the Wizard of Oz movie.
I don't think I have either.
My mom was just watching it last Thursday too, so it's funny how we're doing this podcast.
What a coincidence. The Wizard of Oz movie was made in 1939. Because of its time period, rules and regulations of movies were slim to none. But during this movie in particular, lots of terrible things happened that are just pretty interesting. So, going into it, there was a lot of on-set injuries. The Tin Man's makeup caused him to not be able to breathe, speak, or move properly. And this is found on the Collider, if you would like to read that article. And the actor was named Buddy Ebsen.
I think I've heard of that before. I just think it's crazy that they would let that happen.
Right, I think it's very scary to think about. I would freak out. If that were me, I'd freak out.
And it also says on the Collider, when the role was recast with Jack Haley, the makeup crew mixed paste into the aluminum powder so that it would not lead to infection. While he did end up getting an infected right eye, Haley was able to recover. However, Margaret Hamilton, who's co-starred as the Wicked Witch of the West, suffered a facial second-degree burn during her first iconic appearance in Munchkinland. She was also injured during a scene where the Wicked Witch flies away due to an exploding prop broom that caught on fire. And this is all found on the Collider. So, honestly, I just think it's crazy how they would have makeup and they would not test it and make sure that, whatever you put on someone's face, it doesn't give them an infection. That's just, I don't understand. But going into Judy Garland, who played Dorothy, her abuse on the set. And this is, disclaimer, we're about to talk about some emotional, sexual abuse, and suicide. So if you don't want to listen to that, go listen to our other episodes. So she was severely underpaid compared to her male co-stars. So, daily, she was paid less than, say, the Cowardly Lion or the Tin Man. Just any of them, she was just not paid right. And honestly, for the time period, it makes sense because that's what they did to women.
I just think that's crazy because knowing that she was the main character and she did the most.
Yeah, that should not have happened.
Yeah, that's not right. That's just what 1939 is, I don't know. And she had to take sleeping pills to meet the demands of the busy schedule. And that's concerning the movie. So basically, I guess the director had like such a strict schedule that she literally had to take sleeping pills to like make her, I think it's not like sleeping pills, like maybe caffeine pills to make herself like be more alive and not like fall asleep on set, which probably caused her overdose at like 48.
Yeah.
So because when I was reading on the Collider, it said that. The director, Victor Fleming, slapped her to make her cry in that scene where she scares the Cowardly Lion. And he also insulted her a lot.
That's so crazy.
She's just a horrible director.
It's like, if that happened now, he'd be arrested.
Right.
Yeah.
He'd be gone. She made statements that she was also sexually assaulted by the Munchkins.
By the Munchkins?
Yep. I thought, I remember you telling me you thought those were children.
I thought they were, I seriously thought they were children.
Yeah.
I've seen where she quoted something saying that they thought that they were small and they could get away with anything.
Yeah. That makes sense. That actually makes sense.
So they used it as an advantage to them?
Yeah. So people would think, oh, well, because they look like children, they wouldn't do anything wrong. And then they do.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, but it's okay because we look like children, so it's okay. That's
scary.
And I don't know. It's just it said on the Collider she was paid $500 a week, and her male co-stars were paid $3,000 a week.
That's a huge difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
It's just the difference is crazy. You can see it. And if that happened now, they would be investigating it. They'd be going to people's court, Judge Judy over here.
I always thought that movie was creepy.
Yeah.
It always felt like a fever dream to me. That's why it was creepy to me.
Honestly, I agree. So, now we're getting into the suicide of the Munchkin, myth or real. And again, we don't know which Munchkin it is, so... But if you want to look that up on your own, you're willing to do so on your own time. So the original version, the body of the Munchkin was hanging in the background of the dancing scene of Dorothy, Tin Man, and the Lion. So when they're off to see the wizard, they're over here dancing, and a body is hanging in the background. And you can clearly see it because me, Aaron, and Emma all watched it together, and we all saw it. And they try to say that it was a crane. The producers say it's a crane. But clearly you can see it's a body in the original version. And going to the remastered version, the company photoshopped the crane eating in the background. And before you could see the body in the original version. But now the body has a wing in the remastered version. That makes no sense.
It just doesn't add up.
Yeah. Because, you could see, when we watched the remastered version of that scene, you could see, the wing. But before, you could not see a wing. It was just something swinging.
But then also, in the remastered version, wasn't it, the crane was eating something?
Yeah.
It was moving, and you saw it, and you were like, wait, that didn't happen in the original version.
Exactly. So, they're trying to cover it up. But the thing is, it's what Munchkin, committed suicide?
Right.
That's my question.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But looking at all the facts / theories, what is your opinion now on the movie?
I see it a lot differently, in a negative way. When I watch the movie, I will see people in a creepy way and not the same as I used to see them.
Yeah, I always thought it was creepy, but now, I think it's even more creepy, and, whenever I see that dancing scene, I'm always gonna, look for that Munchkin in the background now.
Yeah.
It's kind of an Easter egg at this point, because, in Disney movies, they'll have, Easter eggs from, different movies. In Moana, they had, the Rapunzel flower, in the beginning. I'll be looking for that Munchkin in the background. Right. I will be looking. But, thank you for listening to this episode with Theories with Viridian. Personally, I think this movie should not have been aired because of the problems and horrific things that went on. But it will still be a classic because of the vibrant songs and colors and the dark undertones the movie brings. But tune in next time for us raving about the Titanic. I'm very excited about that. We'll be talking about basically just different conspiracy theories that went on with that. And remember, just because it's a theory doesn't mean it's not true.